Hello everybody, welcome to this new class for the Rule Governance course. Today we are going to talk about the mental function of rules, about argumentation, about the role of cognitive biases in how arguments are formed, and about evidence and burden of proof, ending with an introduction to argumentation schemes. Okay, so if ontology acts as a picture of how we see the world, we will now turn towards epistemology, that is, the process by which we construct this image. This course is about rule governance, and therefore let's start by refocusing on rules. First, we observe that rules are used to represent occurrences of repeated association that have been observed. These would be rules describing what is normal according to our experience. For instance, if there is a bird cage, then there is cat food. This rule can be seen as a simplification or shallower version of some other rules. For instance, a bird cage usually contains a bird, and a bird is cat food. Note that these two rules are also rules about normality. If co-occurrences have been observed, then this means that there was some observer at some point. This means that rules are mental elements that were formed by an observer, but also that they are applied again to interpret its behavior. In effect, if we look at this cat, it does look like it may have some appetite. Following this analysis, we can think on how these rules came out on a first place. We consider two components. First, as a generalization of similar experiences. Most times I saw a bird cage, there was some cat food. This clearly has some kind of statistical basis. Rational agents typically do not induce all what could be induced, because this would cost a lot of resources. We induce things which are relevant from an experiential point of view. In this case, if I am a cat, cat food is relevant for me. Finding food reinforces behaviors that brought to finding food, including possible inductions. This means that generalization by induction is generally strengthened by some type of reinforcement, that is, by internalizing positive and negative rewards that the environment provides at some point. We discussed about how rules can be formed internally, but something needs to be said about the fact that the rules can be communicated, that is, can also be provided externally. Indeed, rules can be verbalized. If a teacher told us at some point that our planet is round, we internalized the rule even if we never had perceptually a chance to see how the earth is round. This would be a model-based learning that contrasts with perceptual-based or data-driven learning. Now, as new perceptions may change previous inductions, we can as well have revisions of previous models. The Ptolemaic model, even if rather complex, worked sufficiently well to predict the orbits of the planets. There was no really need of another theory. Even more because there was a legacy, in this case, generations of students trained with that model. This explains why the Copernican model did not become the main paradigm as soon as it was presented. However, once Galileo looked at the sky with a telescope, the Ptolemaic model was falsified by new evidence, whereas the Copernican model resulted the only one satisfying it. All is good what ends well. The scientific method seems to conduct us through progress in progress by giving us continuously stronger theories. But, well, the thing is that science is not the only way by which we humans reconstruct knowledge. Otherwise, we could not understand why there are so many people today that believe that the earth is flat, that discuss about it on forums, and that even conduct experiments to prove it. By this introduction, we enter into the core of our lecture, argumentation. Argumentation is the dialectic process in which arguments or reasons are provided to reach some conclusion about a certain topic. For instance, which film should we see tonight? Whom should we vote at the next elections? What to do against the climate warming? Whether Pluto is a planet, or if my lecture was clear. Now, any argument or reason can be seen as an encapsulation of other arguments of reasons. If I say that the planet is round, and I am speaking honestly, this means that I think that the planet is round. This belief is supported by the fact that it is general knowledge that the planet is round, because all school books say so, and etc., and etc. However, argumentation is not only about arguments, it is about a setting. Court cases are exemplary places for argumentation. Parties with opposite interests, the plaintiff and defendant, attempt to convince a judge standing as a neutral bystander of their case. In order to be convincing, we know that an argumentation line needs to be backed up by adequately strong evidence. Evidence is stronger than assumption, for instance, defaults. It should be internally coherent, that is, it has to reproduce a plausible story. It should not be defeated by better arguments. The role of argumentation is central in several human activities, but a recent paradigm in cognitive science proposed it to be even more central. According to the argumentative theory of reasoning, reasoning is not meant to take best decisions or true conclusions, but to justify these choices in front of the others. Reasoning is used for two functions in dual roles: to produce arguments that are accepted by others, to evaluate arguments given by others. At a higher level, the argumentative theory of reasoning insists on the persuasion aspect of reasoning. But at further inside, there is an even more fundamental aspect, consistency. That is, argumentation as serving to restore conceptual conflicts, which do not oppose individuals, but desires and beliefs. The dialogues appearing from argumentation become therefore traces of a conflict resolution procedure. Under this light, production is about creating and solving conflicts. Evaluation is about assessing conflicts or potential solutions. Social aspects become a second-order effect. The paradigm proposed by Herbert and Spencer supports a doxastic theory of reasoning, where doxa, in ancient Greek, means opinion or belief. The function of doxastic reasoning is not to find the truth or the best option, that would be a decision-making goal, but producing and evaluating sound arguments. The tools that we use for doing that are functions concerning claims that support and attack other claims. It is not really about obtaining a neutral evaluation.